What's up, guys? Kyle Spears here, Blacklisted Voice, episode 14. We're here with Lexi. I actually don't know how to pronounce your last name. What? Wohlfort?
Wohlfort.
Wohlfort. Okay,
Yeah.
Lexi Wohlfort. So we're just going to chat with Lexi today, kind of get some background on her athletic journey. She got kind of a unique past. Yeah, Lexi, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. What do you want me to get into? Just the basics.
Yeah, just a quick introduction, like
Yeah.
who you are, where you train at.
I'm Lexi. Hi. I've been an athlete with Blacklisted for about a year and a half now. Maybe a
Yep.
little more. And I am based in Brooklyn, New York. I work out at Willie B CrossFit and I coach at Willie B CrossFit as well. I am currently working, obviously, in Corona times as primarily online coach, similar to what Kyle does, but a little bit, I guess, I would say lower tier. Not to say that there's a very low entry level to CrossFit, but I work with people, more general population people, just trying to get in, get fit, and learn the ropes of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just started that too, right? Like a couple months ago?
Yeah, Corona was kind of the, am I allowed to curse? Because I'm
Yeah.
probably going to. Corona was kind of the kick in the ass that I needed to like get that started. Because I was always thinking, I was like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to transfer online. Like it seems nice to have that kind of freedom, be able to like work from anywhere. But I had invested in an online business course
Okay.
about a month before Corona. And then
wow.
COVID happened, everything shut down. I was like, okay, well, I guess now's the time to really start transferring everything there.
That's like perfect timing.
It was God tier timing. It was absolutely bizarre. And of course, you get upset. I was like, oh God, like my main revenue stream is gone. But then
Yeah.
you realize that kind of like life starts to happen for you.
Yep.
And I realized that like, okay, yeah, now that I'm not able to be in the gym, work with my people there, like now's the time to start getting people in and online, which seems to now, it's going to be the way of the future, which is really
Yeah.
amazing.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always kind of look at it like we like at first it was like personal trainers, and then like CrossFit came out and people were like the personal trainers wanted to get better and improve, so they went to like coaching at CrossFit gyms, and now you're seeing like, okay, the good CrossFit coaches are starting to move on past that and they're starting to get into like the online industry where they can affect like more people, essentially, like their reach is a little bit wider.
And I mean, I guess that was kind of my hierarchy too. I mean, I started as a personal trainer and then I went into CrossFit and now I'm into online coaching. I totally get it.
Yeah. So I saw a stat somewhere too that True Coach had grown like 300 or 400% at the start of like COVID or something like that. It was
the online, like the growth has just been absolutely insane.
Yeah.
You see so many more online coaches on like Instagram and now it's absolutely bizarre. But I love it. It allows a lot of freedom, which is super cool.
For sure. And like, I mean, how many classes a week were you coaching roughly?
I want to say probably like 12 to 15, depending on the week. So
yeah. Okay.
Enough time out of my week. Yeah.
And I mean, like you get burnt out. Like I've heard of coaches coaching all the way up to like 28 to 30, 40 plus classes a week. And like, man.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me because I'm, going a little bit more into my background and where I come from is I started in fitness about 2.5 years ago as a personal trainer, like completely fresh, completely new, career changer.
Yeah.
And that took up a lot of my time because I worked for a big box luxury gym and their stipulation was like, oh, you have to work so many hours to make the money that you want.
Right.
And having them take like 21 plus hours of my week. And then on top of that, like all the free sessions and things that I was doing there, it was a lot. And then I transitioned to the management there, which was 40 plus hours there. And that became even more. That became the big burnout for me. So that's when I decided to quit and do CrossFit full time. So even though I was working like 12, 15 hours a week, that was the kind of like pushback that I needed for my own mental health, which is a
For
big
sure.
thing.
Yeah. And like, if you're not mentally healthy, like, you're not going to give the best service to your clients.
It was absolutely insane. Like the physical shift that happened because of that, because I mean, we've had
Yep.
conversations, is like, I would be like crying constantly. I would be so upset, so like worried about work. I felt like a lot of my performance was very subpar. And then the second that I transitioned, like probably a week or two later, like I think we noticed like a lot of like ridiculous gains. And then there's like the open happened, and like I got my first ring muscle up, and we're like, hell yeah, we're like on a roll. So like it was like evident, the physical change that like my mental health brought to this.
For sure. Yeah. And like, so you did that like what, that was like a month or so before the open, right? You changed
yeah, I switched in October, probably a few weeks before the open.
This is the open February 2019 when you switched, correct? Was that right?
No, it was October. October open was when I switched from
full-time
management
sorry.
to
Yep.
CrossFit full-time.
Yeah. I had my workouts mixed up. But yeah, so, and Lexi we were doing a lot of technique work, and Lexi had never hit a muscle up. And then I think Saturday morning of the last workout, the 40, 80, 120, I get a text from her like, I fucking did it. Like,
I cried like I just won Miss America. It was ridiculous.
It was pretty sweet. Yeah. But like, she smashed the open. Like, I would like personally, I was really shocked to like see some of your training scores, or sorry, open scores relative to like some of your training performances, and like it made a world of difference, like just in your athletic performance. So
yeah, I was shocked personally that the double under workout was my best workout.
Right. We found unknown strengths that she had.
Yeah, I mean.
So, but getting into your background a little bit more. So kind of like we said, you have a pretty unique background. So like, take us through like kind of where you started out, and how it kind of brought you into fitness.
Yeah, so I did not start out in fitness at all. I was not an athletic kid by any means. My brother and my sister and my mom and my dad were the ones that did sports and were involved in sports. I probably tried just about every sport. Like, you name it, I have done it before. I've done softball, soccer, basketball at one point. I rode horses. I played field hockey. I did cheerleading. And I did everything, and I was either moderately okay at them or really, really bad at them. So I touched on everything. So there was a point that I just kind of like gave up on sports. I didn't really want to do sports, so I did theater instead. So all through high school and in college, I majored in musical theater. So I was a performer through and through. So the physical activity that I really got was like from dance, obviously, like 2-3 hour dance classes. And any other physical activity I did was like in the gym, and it was me like running for 6+ miles and doing like body weight work to like, I could feel the burn in my legs, like things like that. Which for me at that point was very unhealthy. I probably weighed 107 pounds on my frame then, and I'm 5'3", and like people were genuinely concerned, but I wasn't, because I was like, okay, like I look the way I want for these roles.
Was that like, so the role, when you say that, was like did you feel like you had to look a certain way, or was that kind of like your thought process?
Yeah, it was definitely my own insecurity and body dysmorphia that I had at that point, because I saw women that were considered generally for the same roles as me that were like slimmer than me, like they looked different from me, because as a shorter person, I look like, if I gain 5 pounds, it looks much more on me than if it's like a taller woman or something.
Gotcha.
So I thought, okay, like I need to fit in with them and look a certain way. So that's why I did those things, essentially to, terrible, but punish myself. And I also had a binge eating disorder at that time, would eat like less than 1,000 calories during the day and then eat everything at night, and led a totally unhealthy lifestyle.
And is that a lot, was that just like you didn't know really like the health benefits or effects of it, or was it like
I was pretty aware of the things that it was doing to my body. I would like stand up and immediately like stars in my eyes, feel lightheaded. But as soon as that went away, I just went on with my day. And I thought like, okay, like I'm starting to look the way I want. Like I'm starting to get roles. Not that my appearance was the reason why, but because I was getting better was the reason why.
Acting ability.
But I was like, okay, like this is what I should be doing, right? It wasn't until probably my junior year of college that I turned things around, because I realized that wasn't the way to be anymore. I took a TRX class for the first time. And that was really cool with a suspension trainer. And I was like, okay, this is fun. This is interesting. And then I took an exercise sports science class that year too, where we got into weights and got into things like that. And like realized that, oh, I need to be eating more than 1,000 calories to sustain my body. And then you could see my shift from my freshman year of college to my senior year of college, that like my senior year, like I had muscle, like it was awesome. And people were like praising me for like the way that my arms looked. And I was like, this is cool. I like this. So I started to enjoy things a little bit more, but obviously there's still that piece in the back of my mind, that like fragile part of me that was like, okay, I need to look a certain way. It's just
Lexi is at the gym still. It is
you might
dog.
See a dog walk by. But yeah, I started to see the benefits of like weight training and treating my body a little bit better. And I did some performing contracts. I worked a lot in children's theme parks. So big, bright, energetic children's performer. So
what was
I know
that
how
like?
to use a lot of energy. It was absolutely wild. I would not trade that experience for anything in the world. Some of my best friends are still theme park performers, but it's a hard life. You work 6 days a week. It's you and probably 12 plus other people in a house living together.
Do they just put you all in one house, or is it like?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get lucky. Like my first year, I got lucky. It was just me and the company manager in the same apartment, because we were the only people that were like over 21 or something. And so we lived in the same apartment, and everyone else lived together in another house. But like you share a kitchen. It's a lot.
So like you're in like a mansion that you're in, or like?
No.
Oh, so you're like 12.
It's like a 2-story normal house. There's like 3 people in a room. Again, if you're lucky, you get your
3 people in a room?
It can be 3 people in a room. Twin beds, super fun. And you're living there for like 3 months. You're living there all summer. But you go to these theme parks and you perform, and like at the end, like you stay out sometimes and you meet the kids, and it's just like you feel like a celebrity because they all love you and they know you. And it's absolutely precious. Like they want to take pictures with you. It's super cute. But that was a absolutely wild experience that I would not trade for the world.
For sure.
But that definitely taught me something about like more like conserving my energy and just working out for fun and doing things like that, because obviously I didn't have time with the 6 days a week to like go to the gym super regularly. So I was like, okay, like I feel like getting a pump on today, like I'm gonna go into the gym, or I feel like going for a run today. So it was more like intuitive that way, which was really nice.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So like how many hours a day were you guys working? Like was it like
from we would get to the park probably at like 7 a.m. and be there till like 6:30 p.m. at night.
So like 12
your last show.
Plus.
So like 12 plus hours. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
6 days a week.
And then you had to go and like try and work out after that.
Yeah, you either had to go before, like some days at some parks you were lucky to have like a later start. You would go in at like 9 or 10 because
Okay.
maybe you wouldn't have like a morning meet and greet as a character, because sometimes you'd open the park as the character. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but some days you were lucky and you'd have to go in at 9 or 10 so you could work out at 6 a.m. and then take a
Yeah.
shower and go in.
Shower and go in. Yeah. Yeah. How long did it take you guys to get ready?
Um, it a bit,
Yeah.
a hot minute, because at least for girls, because we
Yeah.
have to put on our full face of makeup, make sure it's like bulletproof for the sun, and then
Okay.
you have to like braid your hair, put it all in the wigs, and get yourself all nice and ready. Dog.
There's a dog. Yeah, that sounds intense. So that kind of like, you obviously like kind of fell in love with fitness, like, or started to get into it junior year, and then you just kind of like stuck with it a little bit during this time, or?
Yeah, I stuck with it a little bit. I'd still occasionally like fall into my bad habits where
Mhm.
I would be like, okay, like I have to take a month of like purely clean eating. Like I'm not going to touch sugar. I'm not going to do any of this. And like punish myself for like the month before, or like go for
Gotcha.
an extra long run, things like that. But I was starting to like feel like I didn't have to work out like every single day of the week. Like I was finally
Okay.
falling to like, okay, like my body needs to rest on this day,
Yeah.
and get a little bit more intuitive with like what I needed rather than what I felt like my body wanted at the time.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so how long did you do performance for at these parks?
I mean, it's on and off because as I work in theme parks, it's like you do it for the summer and then you have
Yeah.
nothing, and then you do it for the
Oh,
winter and then you have nothing. So it was
okay.
on and off for maybe 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
until I finally decided at my last performing job, which was at Hershey Park for the Christmas time, which was so much fun. Um, I decided, I was like, okay, I'm moving back to New York.
Okay.
And it was at that point, after people started to like take notice of like, yeah, you really take care of your body. Like you're really like fit. Like, can you teach me this? Can you teach me that? And I started
Mhm.
like getting that advice, asking, that I was like, okay, you know what, maybe being a trainer wouldn't be so bad. And then I was like, maybe I could also make my own hours and
Yeah.
be able to audition in New York, which is a lie. Don't fall into that trap. Um,
Is there a lot of people
so
that fall into that?
a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna do group fitness, I'm gonna do personal training, and then I could still audition and do things like that. But for me, having to wake up at like 4 a.m., put on my makeup, put on my dress, wait in front of a building for like hours to be seen for 15 seconds
Yeah.
was not worth it. And then to have to like move clients around because like maybe I'd be going into a callback that day, but then like the chances are slim. So then I'd have to still like it like the scheduling is exhausting. Like more
Yeah.
power to you if you're able to do that, because I just could not manage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I was like, okay, yeah, personal training, and I can audition. This is going to be great. So I ended up becoming a personal trainer at Equinox in
Okay.
January of 2018.
Yep.
And Equinox is wonderful with their education,
Hmm.
because I came in obviously as a complete career changer.
Right.
I could not tell you where my, I don't know, lats were. Like I genuinely like did not know any of that. I was like, this is my thigh. Cool.
Yeah. Like, here's
Um,
my pinky finger.
I was like, bicep, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, there's multiple biceps. I don't understand this.
What?
Um, there's one on
Crazy.
your femur. What?
What?
Um, I knew nothing, and Equinox was so great with our education. They educate all of their trainers.
Okay.
I did not enter with the certification, but about 2 months into it, I got my ACE certification. So that
Okay.
was really awesome that I was able to kind of study along with the education that they also
Yeah.
gave.
Yeah.
So that was amazing.
So did they just hire you on like right at the spot and you were working with clients, or like how did that hiring process work?
Yeah. So, well, that hiring process was actually a little weird for me.
Okay.
I had to go in the morning from Hershey, Pennsylvania, from where I was working, take
Yeah.
a train into New York City, go to the place, do my interview, and she's like, okay, like next step is to go into a group interview. And I was like, hey, if you don't want me, I had to get a $150 train ticket here. I cannot come back again. she's like, okay, we like your ambitions, so let's fill out the paperwork now. I was like, okay, cool.
Like score.
Well, I was also very lucky that the person that was being hired in at the same time with me was kind of the opposite of me. Like she knew everything. Like she is so smart. She knew she was like like worked in anatomy and kinesiology and all of that stuff in her college days.
Yeah.
But where she kind of lacked was where I was good with was like the people skills.
Okay.
So they saw like, okay, like this girl's going to rock at sales. Like she's going to be able to talk to clients. Like she's going to be able to pick them up off the floor. Whereas the other girl was very smart. So we kind of like went off of each other in that way. So they were like, okay, this is going to be a perfect fit. So let's just go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
So then from there, obviously you have to go through your orientation and things like that. And then you start going into these educational classes called EFTI or Equinox Fitness Training Institute, I think is what it stands for. But it essentially teaches you everything that you go through in your kind of personal trainer exam anyway.
Yeah.
So all the anatomy, like there's a second tier that goes into more injury prevention and ways to deal with injuries and surgeries. Tier 3 starts to get even more in depth with that. And then tier 3 plus is precision nutrition on top of it. So I also have a precision nutrition certification through Equinox.
Oh, nice. That's legit.
It is legit.
So they like load you up basically.
They are super huge on education, which is amazing. I just couldn't deal with the hours.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
But very grateful.
Yeah. So you started working at Equinox, became a manager there, right? Started out personal training.
Yeah. So, well, before that, how did I get into strength sports, I guess is kind of the natural direction. But I had never probably lifted a barbell that was more than maybe 50 pounds. And
so this is going into Equinox, correct?
Yeah, when I started at Equinox. So when I started in 2018, I probably did not lift a barbell that was more than 50 pounds. I was terrified. Couldn't do it. Yeah. No, it's too scary. So me and the other girl that I was hired in with were working together with my manager at that time on how to cue someone through a deadlift and how to cue someone through a squat with a barbell, because I had never done that before. And there was it was probably like 95, 100 pounds barbell on the floor. And my friend cues me through the setup for the deadlift. And she's like, all right, now give me a few reps. And I'm like looking down at the barbell, look back up at her. And I was like, you're crazy, right? and my manager was like, you can do this. Like, just pick it up. You're going to be fine. Yeah. And I swear my body just like astral projected. I was like, I can do anything. Like the second that I pulled it up off the ground, it was like, it was amazing. Like the second that you realize how like strong you actually can be is bizarre. And then like later that year, I'm like deadlifting like 185. And then like in the next year, like over 200. Like it is wild. Like the things that the body could do. And it was kind of in that moment that I decided, I was like, those old habits were so stupid. I was like, what was I doing to my body? I was like, my body is awesome and it can do so many super cool things. Yeah. And just kind of focused on that. And it was training in kind of a powerlifting style at that point. I was like, squat, bench, deadlift. Yes. And because that was what made me feel good. That's what made me feel powerful at the time. And then on the other days, I was doing like the burpees and the box jumps and the running and the rowing and things like that.
Did they introduce you to like the conditioning stuff, or was that like part of
No,
like
that was kind of ingrained in me already
that was from previous?
yeah,
Like
from doing like group fitness classes and things like that. I was
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
oh yeah,
Okay.
like I enjoy doing box jumps. Like I enjoy running. So I just kind of did those things, strung them together.
Right.
And then there was a point that I was like, tired of programming for myself.
Yep.
B, came into some money because I was hitting bonuses as a personal trainer. And C, remembered that CrossFit was a thing.
Yeah.
And I
Where
just
you seen it first?
At first, I had actually seen it by chance. So I was running on a treadmill with a TV on and was flipping through the channels and saw on like some ESPN of sorts the CrossFit Games.
Okay.
And I can't remember. It was early 2000s when it first started. And I was like, what is this? I was like, they're lifting barbells and they're doing pull-ups and they're doing box jumps. Like, this is bizarre.
Yeah.
But I was super into it because I was like, these people are so strong. I was probably just like watching Rich Froning like dominate some kind of workout somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was just in shock. And then I kind of went by the wayside. I never really looked for it again.
Okay.
And then I actually remember I was watching Big Brother one summer. So I don't know if anyone knows Christmas Abbott, but she was on Big Brother. And I was like, she looks awesome. I was like, I want to do what she does. So I didn't like look into CrossFit as anything specific, but then I actually started doing CrossFit when I remembered all of these instances of like, okay, they're doing lifting and box jumps and all of this together. Why am I doing it on separate days? This is stupid. Let's just do it all together. So I took my first CrossFit like trial class, and I was like, don't even give me the sales pitch. Like, I'm in. I'm doing it. The workout was so perfect. It was like descending reps of box jumps, sumo deadlift, high pull, and shoulder to overhead, which, if anyone knows me, is a very me workout.
Yep.
So like I'll do box jumps all day. I'm pretty sure I did them with a 24-inch box without realizing it, just because I love box jumps.
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't have to do the RX weight, and I'm like, no, give it to me. So I had a great time.
Yeah.
I've been doing CrossFit ever since. That was probably I strategically started CrossFit after the Open that year. So it was March of 2018, March or April.
So you kind of had an idea that you wanted to be competitive in CrossFit then?
Yeah, I saw my friends that year doing the Open, and I was kind of like re-energized to the fact, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. But after all of this competition stuff is over, because I am not getting myself in this mess.
Yeah.
I was like, give me some time.
Yeah. So you started in March, and then it's kind of just like you've kind of jumped around a little bit now, couple different gyms and like Equinox.
So I was at Equinox until October of last year. And then I started at my current gym, Willie B CrossFit. Right after then.
Yep. So, what do you think like seeing the CrossFit Games was like the part that appealed to the competition side? Like, do you think you would have just like tried CrossFit out if you had walked past a window and saw people doing it in a class? Or
I don't know. I definitely know that the competitive side is a big part of me. I'm a super competitive person, especially as like a former like actor and things like that, knowing that you're constantly competing for parts and you're going against other people. So that kind of like performative competitive aspect was really big for me. Obviously it's just a badass sport in general. Like like I don't care what level you're at. Like, I don't care if you're scaling back to like the bare bones of a workout, or if you're doing everything RX plus, like it's just a badass thing in general.
Right.
To like, I don't know, to like for everyone to be like cheering each other on, like it's so super cool. Like that's probably the big vibe that I got in my first CrossFit class was like, okay, I finished the workout first. I don't know how, but I was kind of standing around being like, okay, what do I do next? And then I saw other people cheering people on. And I was like, oh yes, absolutely. Everyone keep going. And it was like the community felt good and felt right. That it's like you're competing, but you're also together, which is really amazing.
Right. Yeah. It's like, that's like a very unique thing. Like in most sports, it's like you have your team, like most sports in America are team sports, and you have like your team that you like kind of rally around. And that's kind of like your CrossFit gym is like your team. Like you guys are all competing to make each other better, but then like you're all wanting to see each other succeed. So it's like a really unique atmosphere for sure. And it's crazy because it hasn't seemed like it's, really like at the highest level, like the games, like it doesn't seem like that has gotten away from the aspect of community either, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I see the athletes like all on Instagram, like training together and like cheering each other on and like just being besties. And it's like obviously on the competition floor, like the second that it's 3, 2, 1, go, like something snaps, but it's amazing to like watch them like still like be on the sidelines, and like when one person finishes, like they go over and high five them, and it's amazing to watch.
Yeah. So that was kind of like a big draw in too, was community then.
Huge. I am a very like individual type person. Like I enjoy working out alone. Like I enjoy grinding through things alone, but it's when I have other people around me that I also do my best. So when other people are also sharing that suffering, whether we're doing the same thing or not, it makes me feel good, and it makes me feel like I want to work better to also like in turn inspire that person.
For sure. Yeah. It's a great mindset to have. It's just like it's going to build everybody around you up, and that's just in turn going to make you better too. So so quarantine was like pretty hard then.
Quarantine was so hard. You know how hard it was. But I would probably every other week put a message on True Coach to Kyle saying, like, I don't want to get out of bed today. It's just not happening. I'm like, it's raining outside. I'm supposed to run. I'm not doing today. And he's like, cool. Can you try hitting this? Sometimes I would, sometimes I wouldn't, but we do our best.
Well, you stayed very consistent through it, especially with like the upper body pulling stuff, and now your muscle ups are like fantastic, so that's cool. Lexi went from no muscle ups for 3 months and only doing pull-ups on a door frame like rig and then just like coming back and crushing them when she first got to the ring. So
that was the best $20 that I have ever spent in my life. That door frame pull-up bar.
I mean, you probably put in more pull-ups on that thing than like 99% of the people that own it.
Exactly.
But I mean, it is what it is.
It is.
So like what has your competition experience been like then? We obviously had the Open back in February and October. Or you did the February 19 Open, correct? And then
I did. I think I started with you immediately after.
Yes. Yep. I think so. Yeah. So that was that kind of like your first competition experience, was the Open in 19?
I actually did I did a team competition before that, and that was my first experience. So there's a competition around here called Flex on the Beach, which we trained for the second time I did it.
Right.
But it's on the beach in Long Beach, in New York. Super cool. And that was my first competition. I did it scaled on a team with 3 other people, 2 males, 2 females.
Okay.
And first of all, for my first competition, everything went wrong. Which is exactly what I needed in that moment.
Right.
In the first workout, one of my teammates dislocated his shoulder on a
Oh,
box jump.
on a box jump?
Probably like flung his arms or something. He had a bum shoulder anyway, but
Wow.
I didn't, he's just on the ground. And I'm like, what is happening? So he walks off, like I scream at someone to continue doing the box jumps. Cause like, I'm just like, just finish this workout. And I'm like, dude, what's wrong? He's like, my shoulder. And like, we're trying to get like medics, things like that. I'm screaming at the team, like the team and I are screaming at each other to just finish this workout with 3 people. And we managed to finish before the time cap, which is great, but obviously our teammate dislocated his shoulder.
Right.
Luckily, one of the coaches at our gym walked in to just take pictures. And I was like, Rich, take off your shirt, put on this one. You're on our team now. And he's like, what? I was like, I am not spending this much money to not finish this day. And he's like, okay. We ended up having a great time still. I don't know how much he wanted to do the day, but he did it. The rest of the day was super fun, super interesting. There was like a 3-rep max overhead squat part, which I like PR'd at that time, which was super fun.
Yeah.
And there was like a deadlift and burpee workout too, which is my jam anyway.
Yep.
So that was my first competition experience, which was a wild one. And that really got me hooked, especially like the adrenaline of like that day. I was like, this is amazing. And then of course the next day you're just like lying horizontal in bed. Like I can't do anything. Nobody touch me.
Hurts.
Nobody talk to me. My brain hurts. My soul hurts.
Yep.
Which weirdly I was like, I want this feeling again.
Yeah, right.
So
it's so weird. It's like such an addicting feeling. It's so miserable and it's so addicting.
It's so miserable because then you have an excuse to not talk to anyone that day too. Which as a secret introvert is a great thing for me. So yeah, then I did the February Open that year, and that was so fun being an individual competitor. Because the onus was entirely on me. Like
for sure.
If I went too hard in the toes to bar, it was my fault. If I tripped up on the double unders, it was my fault. Like was that the year that they introduced the strict handstand push-up, which I had never done before, and I was like, this is going to be fun and interesting. I got 5 and was like over the moon. And I was like, I've never done them strict before. Let me just try it. And it's those kind of like individual things that I started to really love and appealed to me. Then we did the Open together in October. And so many more amazing things unlocked in there.
The first muscle up.
First ring muscle up.
You crushed the 145 clean and jerks.
I can't believe I did that. That was
you
bizarre.
cleaned 175 too, right?
I did not. I almost did.
Okay. That was
I think I might have like got it on my shoulders, but I couldn't stand it up at the time.
Okay,
Or maybe it went like here and I just decided that it wasn't gonna happen. Because I don't think I've cleaned over like 150 probably at that point.
Yep.
Yeah, but that was just a whole new experience of like I can keep progressing. I like halved my place in the Open that year. I went from like 10,000 to, was it like in the 4,000 or 5,000 this year?
I have to go back and look.
But it was like a more than half it.
Jump. In like 6 months too. You didn't even get like a full year of training before. 6 or 8, but it wasn't even like a full year of training before.
Which is
doing it.
Honestly a testament to what you do, and the fact that like before that I thought like, cool, I could go it alone. I'll be fine. I'm a trainer. I totally know what I'm doing. And it wasn't until you like reached out to me, like giving me a piece of advice on Instagram that I was like, okay, I do need help. Like I have to just suck it up and seek the help that I need and invest in that if I'm going to continue to have my kind of fun and continue to progress in something that I really love. Which was big for me, because I'd always been like, I'm just going to do everything by myself. I could look it up online, like no big deal. But it's just not the truth. It's just not the case.
I mean, it definitely helps. Like, I mean, like you had a really good like basis for education, but like the sport is like another level on top of that too. So just having somebody to look after you and like, push you along the way is like super beneficial.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but like when we got your initial consult, you told me that DT was one of the scariest workouts for you. And I was
DT,
like, okay.
I just remember avoiding that workout like
Yeah.
it would come up, that and Fran. I had not done Fran until a month ago, ever.
Yep, we did.
But it would come up in class programming. I would suddenly, my arm would hurt that day. It would come up in like when I was playing around with comp train programming, it would come up in there, and then I would try to like jerk that weight, and I would just wimp out and be like, it's not happening. And I was like, DT scares the living shit out of me. And now if I'm like, I can clean it, I can jerk it. Like, I have no problem with my overhead strength anymore.
Right.
And I think I probably would have continued to wimp out on that workout if it wasn't for just like that extra push.
Awesome. When you told me that and you told me some of your strength numbers, I was like, well, the cycle's either going to go really well or really bad, because we're going to go with this one. I mean, they're going to keep a client for forever, or she's going to quit after 3 months.
Because like, let's be real, like with the education that I have, I could probably get stronger. But it's like, would I understand the sport as a whole? I could probably be deadlifting the same numbers if I went at it alone. I could probably be squatting similar numbers if I went at it alone. But it's like, would I be able to make it through all 5 rounds of that workout? Probably not. My brain would probably give up on me. My heart would probably give up on me. And the big thing is just understanding like where you need to like forgive yourself and strategize in the sport, which is something that I did not understand, that I did not have.
That was like, that's something, sorry, I know we kind of got off topic of like the competition thing, but like that's something like changed drastically since we first started, is like your mindset around everything. I don't know if that's like, is that kind of like you seeing progress in the sport, or like what's kind of like contributed to that mindset shift?
I mean, a lot of it was because I was a lot more negative when we started. And you know that, is that I would continuously beat myself up for not being able to do things that I thought on numbers wise that I'd be able to do. I'd be like, if I could squat 200, like I should be able to squat 200 every day. I didn't understand that like strength fluctuates. No matter how much I read about it, I just didn't understand it. I was like, I should be able to do this.
These rules don't apply to me.
These rules don't apply to me. I can do whatever I want. But then you told me to read mindset. And that was a big starting to change the game for me. Because I was like, I am very fixed. I was very fixed at that point. I was like, strength is finite. Like, this is it. Like everyone has a genetic potential. Everyone has certain talents. Like, this is just not my talent. Like, I don't think I can do this thing. Or like, I would gain like weight, which was primarily muscle. And I would think, oh God, like I gained 10 pounds. Like I need to lose weight so I could do a bar muscle up again, which was absolute bullshit. Like I gained like pounds of muscle in my legs because I was squatting, which is things that I need. Like, but I would fall into that old pitfall of like, oh, I gained weight, I need to lose it to do what I want again. Which now is obviously not the case. And the mindset was a huge thing, because I saw like, oh, like if I can work hard, or if I do work hard, I can achieve these things and do what I want. Because it didn't matter how many setbacks we went through. It didn't matter how many times I cried about things. At the end of the cycle, we always reached our goal.
Yep.
Like I would sob about my shoulder feeling bad, and then you would crush DT in under the time frame that you gave me.
Yep.
I would be so upset about gaining weight, and then all of a sudden I'd bang out 5 bar muscle ups. Like,
right.
it didn't matter how many perceived setbacks I had at the time. We were always able to make it to the end goal, which is a reason why I'm a lot more positive now. And my mindset has shifted greatly, which honestly, like, okay, yeah, maybe from now I could potentially like start getting into my own programming, do things like that. But like, I would not give up this support and this mindset for anything.
For sure.
So that's where you got me for life.
Yeah.
Which is a thing that nobody expects to get out of having a coach. Everyone's like, great, like I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to go up in my numbers. Like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But nobody thinks like my mind is going to become stronger because of it.
Right.
Which is a huge thing.
Yeah. I mean, if your mind's not, your thought processes aren't set correctly, like, you know, you're not going to create the habits to create the change. Whatever it is you want to do, lose weight, get stronger, compete in the sport, like, especially if like, you know, you're kind of dealing with a fixed mindset, like you knew where you wanted to go, but you just didn't understand that you could grow into that position. I think you just kind of like thought it was just, you're there, you know?
Yeah. I thought like, oh, like I've reached level 5. I'm going to be level, like I genuinely thought of it like a video game.
Yeah.
Like I thought like, oh, I've leveled up. I must have all these attributes all the time.
Right.
But in reality, like that's just not the truth.
It's like level 5, shitty sleep, level -4.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's cool. It's cool that you experienced that, and like like you can see it even in like I tend to feed off of people's results reporting a lot, and like your change over the last year and a half has been substantial as far as like how your self-talk about your training sessions, which has been a very cool thing to see.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not to say that it's there 100% of the time. Like obviously there's times that have like, today was absolute crap. Like I need to give up like this and that. And it's like, you send a comment back and you're like, what? and I'm like, yeah, sorry. It was just a bad day. Like, I get it. Sorry. I will take the notes. I'll move on. But yeah, no. And honestly, the mindset has been like a huge part of what's been going on also in the world, like today with COVID and like the fact that my main source of revenue and gyms shut down and things like that. And obviously I had my like grieving period. Like I was, I cried for probably like a week or so being like, oh, like I don't have any money, like this, that, the other. But then you look around and you see the growth opportunity, you see like the chance that I have to kind of start over fresh, the chance that I have to work on dumbbells, to work on strict pull-ups, to work on strict handstand push-ups, like even though I can't get into my gym. So yeah, mindset has been an absolute game changer.
For sure. And so I think it was actually about the time that we started to see kind of like a big mindset shift. You actually went and did a local competition. I can't remember where that was.
It was at EVF performance in Columbus Circle, Battle of the Fittest in February of this year. So right before everything happened. And my parents came out to see me for the first time. They'd never seen me before. They were absolutely in shock. I like barely talked to them the whole time because when I'm in competition mode, like I'm in competition mode, and my mom and dad would be like, "You did so good! Like that was so great!" I was like, "I could have done this better. I could have done that better. I should have went up in this weight." And then I'd be like, "I also can't eat. Can somebody go to Starbucks and get me like a hard-boiled egg because like I need help?" But that was super fun. I ended up placing second in a super talented group of girls. The girl that won was just an absolute animal. Like I thought I had nailed the first workout, and let me tell you, never think that you ever have anything in the bag.
And
that workout was what was it, like a 1K row into 3 rounds
and
of
burpees,
no,
right?
it was snatches and bar facing
Snatches,
burpees.
yeah.
And I was like, snatches, bar facing burpees, I got this. It's like super easy.
Yep.
But my rowing skills were not there, which we worked on, which was awesome.
Yep.
And I definitely PR'd my time on that workout from testing. But this girl, hot out of the gate, I was like, she's gonna burn out, like whatever. And then she grabbed the bar, ripped out these snatches like that bar was empty.
Yeah.
And like literally took a knee during the burpees. And I was like, how did she beat me?
Yeah.
Like she is an absolute animal. And like, I'm so grateful to have been chasing her like that whole time, because it was always like her, me, or then me, her. Like it traded off, and it was insane. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
But I ended up PRing my clean by 10 pounds that day.
Yeah.
PRing my overhead squat by 10 pounds that day.
Yeah.
It was great. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a game day performer.
That I'm absolutely a game day person. It goes with my performing. The fact that I was a performer is that I see people in front of me. I know how hard I've rehearsed or that I've worked. And it's like, now is my chance to show these people exactly what I'm made of. And it's like that kind of performative energy just like snaps and some out of body experience.
Yeah.
Like, I should be aware of what I'm doing, obviously, but it feels like an out of body experience.
Yeah. It's like most people call it like in the zone or however you want to describe it. But yeah, it's like it's like it's the best feeling in the world.
It really is.
It
Absolutely is. And then the whole time I just look forward to having a burger and a beer after it.
Yeah. So like how did you have that kind of like intuition of like, hey, I've worked for this, now is my time to perform? Like, did you have that through your entire performance career, or was that something you kind of had to work on and develop?
I've kind of had that. I obviously in theater you get multiple performances, multiple chances to show what you're made of. So in competition, it's kind of like this is it. This is your shot. Like
right.
Your chance to actually show exactly what it is for like one night only. So, but I've always felt like I've been a pretty performative person. Like when you light a fire under my ass, like I'll do it. Like that's always the way I've been.
Yep. Yeah. It's like it's something I feel that can be taught. I just haven't like fully figured out how to teach it yet. And there's like some people that just like from an early age they like learn it. So like whether it was like through performance, you just kind of learn how to turn that on and get into the zone, and then it just carried over into CrossFit. And maybe that just means more competing for people who are a little bit more timid going out onto the competition floor, just so they can learn. So yeah, it's just something that's like always trying to learn a little bit more about.
And that's why I'm a huge advocate for competition, is that I feel like it pulls something out of you that you don't realize. And it's like for those that are trying to get into competition, like do something with a team first. Like have that shared suffering, like know that you're not alone on the competition floor, but feel like you want to do well because you also want to see others do well.
For sure.
Which was kind of like the gateway of me getting into it. It was like, I was a little bit nervous to compete, I guess, but then somebody asked me if they wanted me to be on their team, and I was like, absolutely, yeah. And then later dabble into those individual things, see if you like it. For me, I love it. Because I don't have anyone to blame but myself, and also nobody gets pissed off for me yelling at them for going too slow. And then see where you want to be from there. I mean, right now I train more individually, but like who knows, like maybe teams are in my future, and it's awesome to know that I have things really wide open right now.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's just like having the support system to start out and just like, and you just learn a lot from doing the team side of things. There's things that you can learn from the team competition and things you can learn from the individual side of the competition, and they both carry over into each other. And it's a little bit easier to get that start inside of the team competition for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if you're competing with some people that are a little bit more experienced, you can learn from them. So
yeah, and you find a lot more team competitions too. Like they're either partner or team that are local. New York has a few individual competitions, but it's still mostly teams around here.
Because team is where it's at.
You would know.
Get rid of the individuals and only make teams. But yeah. So I don't think we have anything lined up coming up here competition wise, just kind of the open or Wadapalooza, I guess.
We're gonna get ready for whenever Wadapalooza Granite Games because they're now doing their shared qualifier for this coming year. So while we bide our time as we wait for the world to come back to a semi-normal order,
whenever that is.
We'll continue getting my legs back from quarantine and doing what we're doing, and hope that I can do as best as I can to potentially compete individual or team at Wadapalooza or Granite Games. Yeah,
sweet. Do you have anything else you want to kind of chat about here, or?
No, I'm just having fun chatting.
Yeah, they're a good time. The podcasts are a good time. But how do people find you, get a hold of you?
I'm on Instagram, Lexie.Wohlfort, LEXIE.WOHLFORT. I'm also on TikTok, same handle. You've been doing something really interesting on TikTok.
Read something that they might ban TikTok in the US.
I don't think so. I think that there's enough people working for TikTok in the United States that it's not going to happen.
Okay.
Like, doesn't Google have all of our information anyway? Like, why is that a problem?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
but it hasn't been banned yet, and I've been having a lot of fun over there. I do something a little bit different over there than I do on my Instagram. I don't know if anyone is into anime, but I am, and that's kind of where I let my inner weeb out. I've been doing weeb workouts, which are little workouts. So a weeb is somebody that's into nerdy things, into anime, into gaming and things like that.
Does it stand for anything? Is it an acronym or?
I honestly couldn't tell you. The kids use it. So I'm a 27-year-old trying to fit in with Gen Z. But I've been doing workouts that are based on anime characters, and people have been absolutely loving them over there. They're CrossFit workouts, so if you want to check them out anyway, they're super fun, and I've been having a good time talking to everyone on there.
That's cool.
But yeah, Instagram is my main kind of business page, but that's where you can find me.
Sweet. Well, right on. Thank you for coming on. It was a lot of fun. So we'll, I guess we'll get this episode out in about 2 weeks here. So, thanks for coming on. And
hope I didn't ramble too much.
No, it was good. So, thanks for watching, everybody. If you guys are listening on iTunes, make sure you head over to our YouTube page. We do a couple other things over there. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you guys can find these on Spotify, iTunes. I think there's another one out there. There's a couple of them, but Spotify and iTunes are the main ones. And if you guys want to, subscribe to our YouTube page or get notifications, I guess, of when we post a new podcast. So thanks again, Lexi. And
thank you.
Yeah, we'll chat with everyone later here.